Well, here's a fact that's sure to send a shiver down your spine. As temperatures plunge around the country, the average household will pay 15% more for heat this winter than last year. Here to show us how to make our homes a little bit more energy efficient is Jason Cochran of walletpop.com. Jason, good to see you this morning.
How are you?
It's probably the bane of my existence when I walk into my apartment each day. There's so much air that just, in summertime the cool air goes, in the wintertime the cold air comes in. So how, I guess, cost effective is it to winterize the home?
Oh, extremely. It's a really important issue, actually. We spend about 56% of our heating and cooling, our energy budgets on heating and cooling, and about 40% of that, according to the Department of Energy, goes right out the door, like happened to you. So if we winterize properly, we can save roughly about $218 on the average. Again, that's for the Department of Energy's numbers. And you should do it yourself, though, because if you pay someone $1,500, takes about 10 years to pay back. Do it yourself can be as little as $350. You can pay that back in about 2 years.
And not the most labor-intensive process.
No, not really.
There are some certain things we could do, which we'll talk about. Let's talk about home heating oil, because we want to go through a couple of different steps with people where they can save some money. And home heating oil is one you say people can address.
Yeah, like you said, prices are way up. About $3.30 a gallon a year ago. Now it's going to be about $3.90. But what people are doing, they're banding together to form fuel co-ops.
Really?
You can find them in your community by looking under fuel co-ops on the internet, the yellow pages. Maybe your county has information, or your Consumer Board of Affairs will have something. You join this fuel co-op, you might pay about $35 a year as a membership, and then you get the bulk rate, which is about 30 cents less. Great way to save some money that you might not have thought of before.
And if you really want to make the home energy efficient, that big thing sitting right next to you, your chair there, insulation, it is key.
Because we lose about 30% of our heating bills right out the drafty areas of our house. You know, we're talking the windows, the attic, which is where this would go off, and it's a fiberglass roll. I like the cellulose stuff because it sprays and it's easier to find the nooks and the crannies. This is about $15 a roll. Cellulose costs about the same, but sometimes the installation can be more tricky. But you can really save a lot of money if you put this where your air is drafting out, especially on the in the rafters of your attic and underneath the floors if you have a basement. Very important.
You got it. And this is the one thing, like I mentioned to you about my apartment here in the city, the draft, when you walk by any of the windows, and again, I can only imagine.
Yeah, you can have someone actually check out your place to see. It's called an audit. You know, where you're losing air. What I like to do, it's free. You get a stick of incense, you close up everything in your house, you light it, and you look where the air goes. That's how you find out where the drafts are. And then it costs very little to get weatherizing strips or like a kind of a plastic wrap that goes over your window. What you want to do is you want to create sort of a dead space between the outside pane that faces the outdoors and the pane on the inside. A lot of us have single panes. The energy goes right out of the house. If you create a second pane, whether buying a new window or putting on that wrap, then you can save a lot of money, about 30% again.
How about the water heater? Because most run 24/7.
Yeah, and your money is being wasted all day long. You're heating water you're not going to use. It's on all day long. If you can save a great deal of money if you time it to go off at certain hours when you're not going to be around. Better yet, I like these new kinds of water heaters that heat up water as you want it. They're sort of an on-demand tankless system. They're kind of the new rage here in New York City. People are installing them in their houses here. They also take up less space in your house. You can put more furniture in there. And if it leaks, you're not in so much trouble, because if a regular water tank bursts, it's going to go all over the house.
And you talk about that being on a timer. The same can be said for thermostats in people's home. If you can get those automated thermostats to kind of time it to turn on before you get home.
It's a new thing. I mean, we think of those dial thermostats. You turn it on when you want heat, you turn it off when you don't. A better idea is to think of what your schedule is. When you go to work, turn it off for 8 hours. When you go to sleep, turn it off for another 8 hours, or turn it down about 15 degrees. You can save about maybe a percent for every degree that you turn it down. If you do it that way, you've saved about 2/3 of the day's energy if you time it when you're not at home or when you're asleep and you're underneath your blankets. You don't need it on for 24 hours.
It is amazing to see how much money you do really let fly right out the window. Pardon the pun here. Jason, thanks so much. Good to talk with you this morning. All right, now here's Jeff. Jeff?
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Superstar Jennifer